weighed in today, reading, quote, "We don't give a bleep what anyone, what nobody thinks or says. We're going to do what's best for him. The best case scenario was 3 weeks. The worst case was 6 weeks. And we're right on schedule," end quote. Rich Paul drops the mic and walks off. Number one, how often do agents put out statements like this for their players speaking for them as a spokesperson? How often do you see this in the NBA or any professional sport?
It's unique.
Happens.
Yeah,
Does it seem unusual or am I tripping?
No, I think it's unique in LeBron's case because we're so used to hearing directly from LeBron James. But I would sense that the rancor about where's LeBron rescue this season, as it cranks up, there are going to be instances where somebody has to say something. I think this might have been Rich Paul just kind of want to set the record straight. I think it makes a lot of sense, too, Fish. If there was an internal understanding of what the timeline would be for LeBron, there's no amount of outside pressure or social media that's going to accelerate it. I mean, this is a guy who has never really been sidelined in this way, so why would you rush at this stage of career? It would be foolish.
Yeah, it makes no sense. I think he's spot on. Whether we typically hear from Rich or not, it makes sense. He's LeBron's agent. His job description is to do what's best for LeBron. So what he says makes sense. And I agree in terms of the timing. I think everyone's just kind of clamoring for something because LeBron hasn't really spoken. Obviously, the Lakers are being cautious. They're not saying much other than he'll be reevaluated at the proper times. And so it's more noise than anything. With a significant groin injury, to 2 or 3 weeks later to be wondering why he's not back tonight doesn't really compute for me. So I say continue to take your time and do what you need to do.
All players are different. We saw Steph Curry have a similar injury. He missed 11 games earlier in the season. Steph, of course, a little bit younger than LeBron. But taking it onto the basketball court, how urgent is it for a player of LeBron's stature, who's obviously the best player in the league, the most important player on their franchise, for him to get back, seeing how they've slid from a top 4 seed now down to teetering to maybe being a lottery team?
Well, it's important for him to get back as soon as possible, but that has to be done in the right way. Steph Curry's injury probably was a different type of injury. LeBron's play was an awkward play and looked to put much more severe strain on the groin area than the play we saw from Steph Curry's injury. Getting LeBron back is paramount, but remember, this is month 4 of year 1. So if you want the LeBron James for the next 3.5 seasons to play at the MVP type level that he's capable of and showing no signs of really slowing down, then it is paramount to be patient right now. A few weeks now saves you a few years later, and that's what they need to do with this young man.
Well, it seems like you definitely want to take that into consideration, but let's not forget LeBron's not getting any younger. We all know Father Time's undefeated, so while you still want to manage that injury, you still want to make sure you don't lose an opportunity. This is a team that was right there close to the 2 seed earlier in the season.
But that was early in this season. There was also a situation where, did we really think the Lakers were a top 2 or 3 team in the Western Conference right now? So what they're doing is exposing themselves for what we knew them to be without LeBron James. A team that would be maybe battling for one of those final spots in the playoff mix. The bigger pressure to me on the Lakers is actually external. You got now a Utah team with a very favorable schedule coming up, throughout this entire second half of the season, and they're playing better. So now if you're the Lakers, you're not just playing for the internal expectations. Now you got to worry about the real estate around you and who is climbing, who's coming up after you chasing that playoff spot that you've been sitting in. That's where I think the pressure, not on LeBron or anybody else, but just on the organization itself, weighs heavier than it might have otherwise. Look at what the Jazz, the Kings, and really the Timberwolves and Pelicans are kind of out there, but not a threat right now the way that the Jazz are, clear and present. And then the Kings, if they get on a roll, then that's another team you got to worry about. What you got to have, if you're the Lakers, is LeBron back healthy and drama-free down the stretch run of the season. If it takes 2 or 3 more games, 4 games, whatever it is, you weigh that out and allow LeBron the time he needs to get healthy.
We talked about this off-cam, but showing the signs of panic is when you look at Magic and Rob Pelinka and those guys, and Derek, I'll direct this question directly to you since you're familiar with the inner workings of that organization. Is there a situation where they make a knee-jerk reaction and make a move even though they're still waiting on LeBron just to try to maintain staying afloat in the Western Conference playoff standings?
I don't get the sense that that's what the feelings are. I think the thoughts lead more towards the future than right now. I believe the move to add LeBron James this year, or the decision that he made to come to LA, was really about what they're going to build this year into next year and really positioning themselves to be a destination for another top free agent or another top player via trade. Mm-hmm. And I think they've done a lot of that work. I do think that there are other players around the league that at the right time, and if things fit together, they will be willing to join LeBron in LA. And I think that's on track. And so I'm not sure if there's any huge move they would make in terms of LeBron being in or out. I think that move will be made either way.
The only potential wrinkle in this entire timeline, of course, is the trade deadline. You know, if somebody is desperate at the trade deadline to make a move or to do something, and the Lakers are on that phone, then all bets are off. We don't know what might happen. But I think that would be the case whether LeBron is in uniform
Correct.
or not.
That's what I agree with.
Having the trade deadline on the schedule the way we do before All-Star Weekend changes the dynamic, changes everybody's metric on how you approach it. That's the only, to me, if the Lakers get past the deadline, Fish, why would you do anything to upset what you potentially have going on this summer? You ride this season out no matter what, no matter who's healthy, let chips fall where they will, and continue with your long-term plan to build this organization back up to the point where it can be a contender for years to come.